What's up, everyone? We're back with another video. Today we are here to rank all the year one Nintendo Switch 2 editions for Switch 1 software for the Switch 2 system. Oh my god, I love this naming scheme so much. Not gonna lie, most of them are just kind of alright. There are a couple that I have not played, but I'm still gonna put on the tier list regardless, because most of these aren't really that big of a deal. First, let's start with the first Switch 2 edition reveal, where Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty high on these. They're a resolution bump, 4K, 60 FPS. They play immaculate. They look immaculate. There is a Zelda Notes feature, which I feel like is very low key and undervalued. Having that map on your phone and be able to find all the Korok seeds, have all the maps, have all the locations, all of the quest markers is super nice to have. And as well, having the new Zelda voice logs, having new lore bits here and there. Also, these are the only Switch 2 editions that were available on NSO expansion pack. And I kind of wish that all of these expansion packs were available on NSO plus expansion pack, because I feel like I will be a lot higher on a lot of these Switch 2 editions if it was included. But for both Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and Breath of the Wild, honestly, I kind of put them A. I don't really have many complaints. Honestly, like the Zelda notes are clutch. The resolution and performance bump is amazing. There really isn't much to say besides both of them being $10. But again, I mean, I have NSO expansion, so like I don't really mind that, to be honest. Let's see. I'm gonna skip Kirby till way later on. Let's do Animal Crossing New Horizon Nintendo Switch 2 edition. This one was like a random shadow drop on January, which added actually two things. It was both a Nintendo Switch 2 edition and a free content update. We're not gonna discuss the free content update because that's separate, right? But the Nintendo Switch 2 edition adds mouse control, adds the megaphone where you can use the mic to call your villagers. That's pretty cool. Enhance online for 12 players. I'm never really gonna do that. The online for Animal Crossing was dookie water anyways. Camera play, I mean, sure, I guess, as the camera sold separately. And then 4K. Honestly, this is one of those games where 4K matters the least. So honestly, since this is a $5 upgrade pack, I guess the mouse mode is cool, I guess. The megaphone's cool, I guess. But like, I mean, I feel like the only redeeming factor is that it's $5. Again, mouse mode is cool, but it's such a random out there Switch 2 edition that like is so inconsequential. That's what I'm gonna say. It's such an inconsequential like upgrade pack where like honestly it could have just been included for free. Like 4K, does it really matter for Animal Crossing? Not really. There is no performance bump, by the way. There is no performance bump. The only thing that's really saving it is honestly the megaphone. Because trying to locate your villagers is kind of annoying. That's like the only thing that's like saving it from scam tier, to be perfectly honest. Honestly, I'm kind of tempted, not gonna lie. All right, honestly, let's move on to Pokémon Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4. I kind of want to do these two because these two were the only few Nintendo Switch games that got day and date Switch 2 editions. Legends ZA for $10. All you got was high resolution and FPS. We got scammed, y'all. Y'all, we got scammed. We got fucking scammed. We got scammed. Listen, I love me some 60 FPS Pokemon Legends ZA goodness. I love that. 4K was cool. But the fact that this was still a Switch 1 game and the visuals, you know, were the way that they were, I'm not sure $10 for 4K 60 FPS will cut it. Just for that. And we did have the DLC later afterwards. I think this is the first one where it's being scammed here. Now, Metroid Prime 4, another game that was also day and day release, had mouse controls, 4K, had 4K 120. That is crazy. HDR support as well. Not gonna lie. This was also a $10 upgrade. Since it's doing a lot more, probably B tier. This is probably where I would put like the default, you know, upgrade packs. That if it was doing all of this, honestly, this is probably all right. I haven't played Metroid Prime 4, so I can't really judge too heavily. But honestly, HDR 4K 120, it has the quality modes and the performance mode as well. Not gonna lie, it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. Now, granted, Animal Crossing is doing a lot, but like, realistically, how often are you doing this? 4K is really not needed, and like, how often are you using the camera? Be real to me, y'all. Do you have a Nintendo Switch 2 camera? Talk to me. Be real. Be real. I'm about to become real in 5 seconds. I don't think anyone really has the camera. I'll be real. So I'm gonna put it. I'm just gonna leave it at C tier. Okay. Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV. Not gonna lie, I was gonna put it in scam tier, but they did kind of fix the resolution thing. But I'm still gonna put in C tier. So Mario Party Jamboree has the Jamboree TV mode, where there's a whole bunch of mini games for mouse mode, the camera. The weird thing about this is that it's kind of a tacked on thing. It doesn't really feel like it's part of the main campaign, or not really the main campaign, but the actual main, you know, portion of Mario Party, of all the boards, right? It's kind of like a Mario Party 100 type situation, where it's mostly just mini games. There's the camera thing, there's Game Share. Game Share is pretty cool. New modes, mouse controls, microphone, new mini games. 1440p for TV mode, but that's only for Jamboree TV. Now, base Jamboree on Switch 1 wasn't running native 1080p. It was kind of like dynamic resolution trying to target 1080p, so it was really fuzzy. It has then been updated to actually be full 1080p on base Jamboree, but then again, why is it not 1440p? That's just one weird component of this DLC, and it is a $20 DLC slash upgrade pack. So for that, I'm leaving it at C because it's not really meshing well with the base game at all. It's kind of like a side tack on thing, and you need accessories on top of everything. You need the camera. You need, I mean, you don't really need a microphone, but you need a camera to really 100% the game, right? Like, it's just weird. It's really weird. Final three: Xenoblade Chronicles X, Super Mario Wonder, and Kirby Star Cross World. Let's start with Mario, honestly, because these last two are going to be kind of long. Super Mario Bros. Wonder Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Meetup at Bell Bell Park for the Nintendo Switch 2 system. To be perfectly honest, I am putting it in A tier, not S. Actually, this one's kind of weird, because I do get the feeling that all of these expansions, like Mario Party Jamboree, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and to an extent, Kirby Star Cross World, none of these things were planned. None of these things were planned because of how packed on it feels. So, fun fact, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition, gives you the option to just play the Switch 1 ROM on the main menu. Like, straight up. You could just play the Switch 1 version of the game, minus all of the Bella Bell stuff. That in and of itself is weird. The reason why they give you that option is because there is no cross-play between the Switch 2 version of the game, you know, Mario Wonder, even the base game maps, and the Switch 1 version of the game. The second reason, which is probably why I'm probably willing to move this down a peg, is assist mode. Assist mode is essentially like a no-def mode to the game. Again, you can't really die. You fall off pits, you get like the whole flower petal thing. And not gonna lie, having that like accessibility feature tied to a $20 upgrade pack on its face feels wrong. Why wasn't this backported to the Switch 1 version? Why tie this to a $20 upgrade pack? Like that on its own, kind of like, I feel like this should be brought down to like C tier, honestly. But let me just say the positives real quick first. Game share is pretty fire. We got Rosie and Lima, new characters. The whole Luma mouse mode feels dumb. I tried playing it. It doesn't feel good to play. But the actual gameplay, the mini games, the challenges, the collectibles, the new badges, all of it's immaculate. I love the new bosses. It actually fixes one of my biggest complaints of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, where like the bosses didn't really feel that unique because it's mostly just Bowser Jr. and then Bowser, right? Granted, I like the Bowser Jr. fights, but like having more variety in there would have been nice. And having the Koopalings having these new forms looked and played amazing to fight against. Like, it does fix one of the biggest issues of the game. The challenges do get pretty difficult once you reach the latter stages. And to be honest, most of the badges are eh. But there are two really great ones when it involves, I think, Dolphin Jump, Dolphin Skip, and the Spin Jump, and then Spin Jump and the Parachute Cap. Those badges are amazing. The rest were just kind of eh. So, like, if it wasn't honestly for assist mode being gated and the weird inconsistency, not having crossplay between the Switch 2 and Switch 1 versions, I would have gave it S tier easily. It probably would have been the best one. But that assist mode really is bugging me. Especially how you enable assist mode, whereas on the main menu. It's kind of like the whole Switch 1 ROM boot, where it's just on the main menu, its own mode. Like, it's just super strange. Like I'm trying to balance it. Like, I guess I'll give it a B tier. I don't know. I just feel really icky when it comes to that. Okay. Xenoblade Chronicles X. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. What a title. It got Shadow Drop on the Switch 2. And then the physical version came out, I think it was April, if I'm remember correctly. It supports up to 4K in TV mode and 1060 FPS. That's it. Now, this one is kind of really, really, really odd because it's a $5 upgrade. I get that, you know, a lot of the animations, combat, and cutscenes are tied to frame timing, so they have to readjust a lot of the combat system for 60 FPS. And just for 60 FPS, it feels amazing. It plays amazing. It's such a much needed upgrade, and I'm really hoping the rest of the series does get 60 FPS support soon. But we gotta talk about the 4K. Because if it really was 4K 60 and that's it, yeah, I said ZA was a scam, but I at least would have put this in B tier because it's $5, right? But that 4K is so damn weird. Let's talk about it. So, it's not native 4K. A lot of games use this upscaling tech called DLSS or FSR, where you render a base resolution that's of lower quality, let's say 720p or 1080p, and then you upscale it to 4K to fill in the gaps. Most of the time, especially when you're using DLSS, it looks pretty good, pretty close to native resolution, especially the newer stuff. For some reason, Xenoblade X Definitive Edition, Switch 2 Edition, uses FSR, and not only that, it uses a incredibly low base resolution where some finer detail look brushed out, like oiled pastel brushed out. It is such a weird issue. It's hard to really describe it and show you to you on camera because it's only really noticeable when you're playing handheld mode. When you're playing in docked, yes, it is there, but you really gotta like pixel peep and look at the finer details to see this weird shimmering, almost liquid effect. Like once you notice it, you can't unsee it, but it is hard to see it in dock, especially when you're running in higher resolutions. However, that same story cannot be said when you're playing in handheld mode, because for some reason, that low resolution, like upscaling thing, it is super pronounced in handheld mode. I will put footage on screen on how odd this looks. It just looks disgusting. Genuinely looks disgusting. The most ironic part is that shortly after the Switch 2 edition came out, Nintendo released a firmware update for the Nintendo Switch 2 that introduced handheld boost mode, which allowed Switch 1 games to run on their docked profile in handheld mode. So, the actual kicker here is that if you eject the upgrade pack and play Xenoblade Chronicles X in handheld boost mode, the game looks better! It looks better! Like, what? Why is this a thing? Like, yeah, it sucked to 30 FPS, but it looks better! So, like, if you want to play this, my recommendation is to treat it like a performance mode. Like, on dock, you can play using the upgrade pack, like, there's no issues at all. Like, it's there, but, like, it's not really noticeable. On handheld mode, honestly, if you're a handheld-only player, you are getting scammed, because it looks worse than playing it in handheld boost mode. Like, it's so baffling and so confusing, because you're paying for an upgrade that makes the visuals worse in one half of the playstyles. It's so baffling, genuinely so baffling. And the funniest thing is that this can be patched, but it hasn't been patched yet. So I don't know, especially if you're a handheld only player, like, it's unacceptable, genuinely unacceptable. And if you are a handheld only player, I do not recommend you buying the upgrade pack. Like, if you're a dock only person, yeah, go buy it, right? 60 FPS is amazing. And again, 60 FPS is also in the handheld mode, and it feels great to play. But again, like I said, it's one of those things where once you see it, you can't unsee it. All right, last one. Kirby and Forgotten Land Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Star-Crossed World, easily, by far, S tier. Genuinely S tier. It is a $20 upgrade pack. It is. But it is a full-fledged new campaign. You get 4K 60 FPS. You get banger music, which is, by the way, what was playing the entire time in the background. Kirby Forgotten Land Star-Crossed World's OST is genuinely banger. You get a new arena boss rush type mode. It's such a golden standard of what the Switch 2 editions could have been and could still be, that it's far and alone the best DLC/upgrade pack there is. The campaign is decently long. Like, I say it's like a third. It adds like a third of the base game with new levels. The levels are long and challenging as well, which is great. Again, the new arena, challenging. It's like amazing. The new final boss is amazing. I can't sing at high enough praises of Star-Crossed World. Far and away the best example of what Switch 2 Edition could be. And then we got the scams right here. I still feel weird putting, I genuinely don't know where to put Mario Bros. Wonder. Genuinely. Because that system still rubs me the wrong way. But everything in the game is amazing. Like, if it weren't for assist mode, I would put it in S tier. But I don't know. Like, honestly, I might just down put it in C tier. All this is just, personal thoughts, obviously. Leave me your thoughts down below of where you would rank these Switch 2 editions. And hopefully, going forward, as we get more Switch 2 editions for any, like, day one games getting a Switch 2 port or any older games getting a Switch 2 edition, I hope they follow the example of Kirby or even just the Zelda games. Now I'm thinking about it. Honestly, the only reason I put the Zelda games in A tier is that they were kind of pre-included in the expansion pack, to be perfectly honest. I didn't really need to pay for them. That's like the only real reason why they're in A tier. But like, if they weren't in the expansion pack, I will put it in B tier. That's how my thoughts go, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, that's me for today, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. By the way, tomorrow there is a Nintendo Direct plus Nintendo Treehouse event. We will be there 10 a.m. Eastern. Hope y'all are able to tune in and watch. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be 50 minutes long, by the way. It's gonna be so peak. So yeah, that's gonna be it today, y'all. Also, give me your order of what you think the Switch 2 Edition's tier list should be in your POV. It'll be awesome to partake in the discussions. So thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye now.